Hi, my name is Lee, and I'm here to have a conversation with y'all about sex education. And I'm not going to talk about the show, even though it's pretty popular and it's pretty good. And I'm not here to give a class because I have like 5 minutes, and that's not very effective. I'm going to talk about sex education today and what it should be. So this is my mom. She's pretty awesome. She's a nurse practitioner. I think she's brilliant, and she's the one who taught me all of my sex education. She sat me down multiple times throughout my life, and she said, "You're growing up, you're becoming a woman, and you need to know a few things to keep yourself safe. You need to know your anatomy, you need to know about relationships, you need to know about contraception, you need to know all of it." And I said, "Oh my God, Mom, what if somebody hears us? I mean, we're alone in the room, there's nobody else even in the house, but there's neighbors." But I got lucky, because a lot of people's education, their sex education, looks like this, a scene from Mean Girls, where they say, "Don't have sex, because you will get pregnant and die." There's a huge focus on abstinence, and there should be a focus on abstinence, but it shouldn't come at the cost of all other knowledge, because that's not safe. Mean Girls, sex education, that's dangerous. It's a joke for a reason. It's the funny because it's true, but even worse is when a kid's sex education looks like this. I was told by somebody that they felt very confident in sex education because, in their words, "Well, I've watched some videos on Pornhub." Yeah, that's true. Now, I got involved with this issue because I overheard a group of my friends in high school in junior year talking and, giggling. And they said some things that were wildly inaccurate, like, "Oh, my mom said that condoms weren't even that effective, so why even use them?" Consent is iffy. Sometimes yes means yes, sometimes no means yes, whatever. And later in high school, a woman asked me, who I thought, she's a very smart person, but she asked me, "How many holes does a woman have down there?" There's an issue. Part of this issue is that there's a misconception about sex education. People think that sex education is encouraging kids and teenagers to have sex, even though studies have shown that people who have a comprehensive sex education are more likely to delay their first sexual activity. Now, I've said comprehensive a few times, and this is what it means. The CDC defines it as talking about communication, healthy relationships, sexually transmitted infections, also known as STDs, contraception, abstinence, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Abstinence is on there. It's an important thing to cover, but it's not the only thing. And the CDC says that when you don't get this information, it becomes a health issue, and it becomes a public health issue because people will spread diseases, get pregnant, all of that. Now, Arizona, big shocker, we're behind in education. Surprise. We've got a lot of issues with sex education, mainly that it doesn't really exist, especially for members of the LGBTQ+ community. There's actually a law in Arizona that says you cannot discuss same-sex relationships in the classroom. Now, Utah had a similar law, but they got rid of it last year because they said it was unconstitutional. So obviously, this has huge effects on mental health, physical health. Members of the LGBTQ+ community, they're more likely to get sexually transmitted infections. They have higher rates, and that's wrong. So in Arizona, there's actually no requirement for any sex education whatsoever. But if there is any education, it's got to be abstinence-based, meaning like the entire thing, like you can have a little bit of everything else, but the big chunk's got to be abstinence. Now, they rely on parents because they think, oh, parents will teach kids everything they need to know. But I got lucky with my mom, but I have two parents, and they're both great parents. But my dad, like last year, he said, "You might get your period soon." He meant well, but his approach to sex education was pretty much, "Don't have sex. You will get pregnant and die." And so it's no wonder that kids aren't getting this information. And if you tell kids, especially teenagers, just don't have sex, you see the love lobe, it's big, and you see the Rebellion Center. And it's not medically accurate, but you get the idea. Now, the good news is that this challenge, it's not just some total lost cause. And yeah, we need to change our stigma, we need to change our culture and the way we talk and think about sex education, but we can change our laws. We can. We need to talk to legislators, and it's possible. So I just want to say thank you for talking about the birds and the bees with me. And I didn't even see anybody run out of the room, so thank you. I know it can be really awkward, but this is like the first step to improving our sex education. So thank you.